Israel destroys Irish aid to Palestinian village.
Here's a summary of the article.
The Irish Aid, Government of Ireland logos are clearly visible among the debris of broken solar panels, children's belongings and destroyed tents, marking items donated to the Palestinian families by a European Union umbrella group that includes Ireland among its donors. As the pandemic raged this winter, the village of Kirbet Humsa was repeatedly razed by Israeli forces in a struggle over territory in a remote part of the Palestinian West Bank that has been under Israeli occupation since 1967. This week, undeterred by statements of condemnation from the EU and Ireland, Israel destroyed shelters funded by the EU to rebuild the community in front of a group of European diplomats who were visiting the spot, according to aid workers who were present. The Israeli government has designated the area a military firing range, and insists its soldiers are repeatedly breaking up and seizing the donated tents and animal shelters because the village is illegal and the Palestinians need to move on for their own safety. The initial destruction of Kirbet Humsa occurred on November 3, the same day voters in the United States went to the polls, when Kogat, the Israeli military body that handles civilian affairs in the Palestinian territories, moved in to demolish the animal shelters, solar panels, latrines and tents that were home to roughly a dozen families who make their living raising sheep and goats. Israeli expansionism is seen to have been emboldened by the administration of former U.S. President Donald Trump, and Kirbet Humsa was among the lands earmarked to be given to Israel under proposals jointly unveiled at the White House with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last year. Connor O'Neill, a researcher with Christian Aid, which works with local partners in the occupied territories, said the events underscored that Irish policy needed to evolve beyond providing aid and issuing statements of condemnation.
This post received a score of 17,000, with an upvote ratio of 90%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
You know, if Israel keeps doing stuff like this, they're in danger of developing a bad reputation among their neighbors in the Middle East. They're in bed with the UAE and Saudis already by looks of it. Their Middle East neighbors don't care as long as they're not killing Gulf Arabs.
They're in bed with UAE and Saudi tyrants. The only supporters they have in the Mideast are corrupt dictators who only care about themselves, and elsewhere colonizers whose playbooks they've copied. Edit. Added sentence about non-Mideast support.
And the USA and the UK and the EU and Australia and basically all Western countries.
Ireland is a Western country and is among a number of nations in Europe pushing support for Palestinian human rights.
The Israel-Palestinian situation bears a lot of resemblance to a not-too-distant period of time in Ireland known as the Troubles, so it makes sense there is a lot of empathy towards Palestinians.
It also bears a lot of resemblance to Holocaust Jews in an apparently not-so-distant past according to all these Holocaust charity commercials.
Well, I've heard that conservative Jews will claim there are no other genocides so they can try to have a monopoly on the word. That's how fucked up some people are.
That's actually true. They don't acknowledge the Armenian, Pontic, Rwanda, Asia Minor genocides, everything else they label as minor incidents. Edit, and somehow in the same manner, the West denies the genocide of Native Americans and First Nations.
Yay, I'd like a source on that too. I'm Rwandan, so this hits pretty close to home.
Israel loves to destroy things Palestinians build. Then Israel's supporters whine that Palestinians don't build anything and are undeserving of self-determination. As an Israeli citizen, I can confirm Israel is treating the West Bank and Gaza Strip like shit, then cry about terror.
Extremism thrives when people are destitute and desperate. If you care about reducing number of extremists, make the lives of local people comfortable. Treat people fairly and they start treating you fairly. Of course it won't happen right away, but you have to be patient and keep helping people.
Regardless of being a republic, for now, Israel's politics are stuck in the kind of conservative reaction of the Tsar's autocracy and other toppled tyrants throughout history. Their response to people saying, "Hey, we were here before you," is an exterminationist war, because at the base of it Israel is a settler colonial ethno-state, regardless of having all the window dressing of a republic.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.